Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our discussion on where we are now with Cynllun Eryri, which is the new management plan for Snowdonia National Park, but also the new partnership plan for the park, because this plan has been co-produced in a true spirit of partnership, and we've worked with communities and businesses and organisations all across Snowdonia to agree on an ambitious yet realistic set of outcomes that we're aiming to achieve over the next 5 years. Ultimately, to make sure that the special qualities of our national park are looked after well in order to pass on to future generations. We've had a huge variety of organisations who have come together to co-produce this plan, and it's been an excellent and really exciting experience for us as a park. And Forum Eryri, which is the name of our partnership, who have just finished meeting this morning. And from Forum Eryri, our partnership, I'm delighted to be joined here by two members of the forum. So I'd like to introduce you to Molly Lovett, who is Senior Access, Recreation and Partnerships Officer for Natural Resources Wales, and Charles De Winton, who is Rural Surveyor for the Country Land and Business Association, which engages in all sectors of the rural economy, includes farmers, landowners and around 250 types of rural businesses. So we're going to have a short discussion about the process of co-producing the plan and why Cynllun Eryri is so important. But if there's anybody out there in the audience who has any questions, if you use the chat facility, we hope that the questions will pop up on screen and hopefully we'll be able to answer them for you. So maybe my first question is probably why has the process of co-producing this plan been so important to your organisations? Maybe Molly, maybe I'll start with you if that's all right.
Well, the landscape and the environment of the national park is iconic and it's unique. And in order to manage it, a sustainable landscape actually is good for the people, it's good for the economy, it's good for the environment. We want to manage that environment in a sustainable way for everybody, really. And to be able to do that, we need to know what pressures are on that environment and then plan accordingly. And it's enabled all of the partners to input into the plan, and in doing so understand the pressures that we've got that we have to deal with and move forward as a group. We're all engaging it, we're all committed to it, and we're all going to deliver it. So
yeah, great. And that's the words so positive, aren't they? Engaging and committing and delivering, and hopefully that's what's coming through in the actual plan itself at the moment as well. Yeah. And how about you, Charles? Why has it been so important?
I think it's important for us because obviously we represent members. We have a number of members obviously situated in the national park here. Clearly with Brexit on top of us now, I think it's important that we look for alternative income sources and generation. Clearly, obviously, the economy and the industry is going to go through some sort of changes. I think that's inevitable. But I think also the fact is it's useful for us to work with the Snowdonia National Park Authority and others, so we build up good relationships with people, so that then I, in my role for the CLA, can actually advise our members and suggest to them that actually some of their ideas might not really work in the national park for its special reasons. The reasons obviously Molly's just mentioned now, the special landscape and everything else. But also the fact is that we're actually talking around a table, and I know yourself, I know your planning department, so it's a sort of network of people who I can advise people with too and consult. That it just makes the whole process that much more easier rather.
It is just a wonderful scenario having all of these different organisations in a room for the good of the national park ultimately, isn't it? And it's quite, I think sometimes we don't realise how forward thinking we are here, you know, when other people see the situation, and it is quite a unique one, isn't it? So brilliant. Yeah.
But just to add, the job I do, I cover the whole of Wales, not just this part of North West Wales. And it's quite easy to be able to sort of compare and contrast, as they say, how others do it. And I would say, certainly from my perspective, that Snowdonia is probably in the lead within the two other national parks in Wales in this sort of collaborative working and actually trying to look forward in a positive way, but trying to keep everyone also on board at the same time.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Thank you for that. In terms of the actual plan itself then, what do you think is the best thing in your opinion? I mean, I don't mean, you know, what's the best thing, but what stands out for you as something that you feel quite proud of having been part of the process of co-producing this?
Well, it looks great. Yeah, I've seen the document itself, it looks really good. I think from it being approachable to the layperson, I think that's pretty important really, in order to bring them along with us in actually delivering the plan itself. They can see elements, and certainly they can see actions in the plan that help to deliver things that are important to them. I think that's vital if we want local people to see that it's their plan as much as anything else, but also with regards to land managers, all sorts of different people who live here and work here and come and visit. It's good that they can all see elements of the plan that relate to them. And I think from our point of view, I think that that's the take-home message, is that it's not just one of those traditional plans that sits on a shelf, but it actually is for everybody.
Yeah,
and that's really evident in the document you've produced. It looks really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that has been the intention, that it looks almost like a coffee table book, and it has that accessibility and readability, hopefully, that appeals to everyone, not just us who are heavily involved with this, but, you know, in the strategies and whatever. But it should be relatively readable for most people, let's hope, anyway. But how about you, Chelsea?
Well, I would sort of share largely what Molly said, and I think looking through it, it's high quality. The pictures and the photography, I'm no photographer, but you can see that there's time and energy that's been spent in putting those together. But also the fact is it's engaging, because actually there's some nice pictures there, and I know pictures don't, but as they say, a picture says 1,000 words. The fact is that you know, it's engaging with people, and there's not too much wordage. In my view, it's easy on the eye, but also engaging. And I think also, above all, that actually we've sat around the table and you guys have listened to what we've said, and that's sort of ended up in that.
Brilliant. Oh, that's great to hear. And why should, not ordinary people, we mentioned lay, we've used that word, but why should people who aren't involved in organisations like us then, but still obviously live in this area, why should they be interested in this plan?
I think a lot of what's in the actions will affect them at the end of the day. So, I mean, just taking examples like getting people out into the country and getting them to engage more in the country, and enabling them to do it without having to drive to those locations. There's a lot of communities actually live within the national park, and it's developing opportunities for them in their locality as much as anything else, and that's just one example. But yeah, there's a lot within the plan that does affect individual people who come here to visit, or visit from their local communities, or they just live in it. And so it's vital that they know what's going on within their surroundings. Really.
Sure. Would you have anything to add there?
No, I think I'll go along with a lot of what Molly's just said now. But I think the important thing is, because it's the actual document is engaging. It's not too wordy, and the fact is people can sort of quite happily look through it and see and focus in on the things. And at the end of the day, people live here. It's got a strong emphasis on community, Welsh language and things like that, which is important to a lot of people here. So it's sort of hitting the areas that are important to people. Obviously, tourism is also a big part of the economy, but there again, you've got to be sensitive, because people actually have to live here, and it's a living and working environment. It's not just a sort of tourism hotspot.
And on that note then, I'm going to share the screen so that, if I can remember how to do that. Yeah, here we go. So there we go, because I'll just remind everyone that this is actually open for public consultation at the moment, and it is so until the 13th of March. So the details are on the screen now about how you can actually look at a copy of the plan. I must emphasise also there's even an easy read version, so that should make it even less arduous if you don't like to read long documents. But as we said, it is one that is quite easily accessible. So when you go onto the website, there's also a questionnaire that asks you for your opinion, and my details are there as well, should you like to contact me about the plan. And I just see that there is a question that's come in here. So there's a question asking, once the plan is adopted, it will be important to keep the momentum going with its implementation. How will implementing the action plan be monitored? Yeah, great question. And hopefully you will go ahead and read the plan after this, because at the back of the plan, there is an action plan that very clearly states who will be responsible for carrying out the different action points, how it will be monitored, and by when we hope to see the results as well. So we've tried to make those targets as smart as possible. We're going to work to make them a little bit more smarter maybe before the very final version. This is a draft version at the moment. So again, if there's anybody that has any anybody that wants to influence that process or has any input on that, please get in touch as soon as possible. I'll just check in case there's any other questions. No, I think that's it. So just remains me to say thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you for listening, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Cheers.